I'm starting to see how easily controlled human beings can be and are. There's a history of this world, about this world, that we know nothing about. We've been told a story, and perhaps some of it's true, but they've left out a substantial portion. Whoever they are. Hi everybody, this is Roger in Kansas City, and I've missed you all very much. Let's go to Patagonia and take a look at this mountain. I'll have the coordinates on the title page. Alright, now out here pretty much in the middle of nowhere by this glacier, way down at the southern end of Chile, is this mountain. And I'm just going to propose that this mountain and the entire area that's around it is a city. Well, Roger, it doesn't look like a city. I know. But there's a city underneath it. There's a city within the mountain, within the mountains, all around it. And what we're seeing is just the surface area. It's just like seeing the roof of a building and trying to figure out what's in the building by looking at the roof. But there's a lot on this roof. So we can get a pretty good idea of something that's going on down there. Well, so here's what I opened with, is this area right here. But there is so much, and I have struggled with this video. There is so much in this area, I thought, well, I'm going to show a lot of it. There's no way. It would take forever. So I'm just going to show this one spot, which is substantial unto itself. I'm going to show you here and what's above it and just around it. So let's go to our first enhancement. Typically, Google Earth overexposes a lot of their areas. So all I've done is darkened up this picture. There's an outcropping down here. We see some things on. And we'll look at a straightened up picture, but I haven't altered this other than just the exposure. Let's look at this. The measurements of this outcrop from top to bottom, straighten this up a little, from here to here is roughly 360 feet. This object that's right here is right about 100 feet. This one here is 70 feet. And to you folks that use metrics, you can convert that. 3 feet is about a meter. Okay, so let's go right here. What I believe we're looking at is some type of monument. This square area is what I think might be an area they tried to obfuscate what's behind it, but they didn't really think anybody was going to look in much depth around here, so they just kind of threw it there. And same down here, we see these what appear to be statues. I don't think they're real people, but we'll get to the real people here in a little bit. I think this is a statue. This little guy down beneath it is a statue, and we do have clearer pictures, but I just wanted to show you the area in its entirety before I go to segmented photos. Now above it, now this is what I actually, at first I thought, oh wow, I found an ancient type of, I don't know, pre-Columbian carving on the wall. And if you look at it in the non-enhanced fashion, it kind of looks like that, but it's not. This is pretty wild. And this is not a bad shot for the first picture we're looking at. You can see there's a protrusion, like a little balcony here, and there are things on it. We see figures of humanoids, and I do believe this is these are artistic types of renderings, not actual people. And again, they might be actual people, for all I know. Down here is another little protrusion, and I'll take another look at it also, but there's a little guy standing up here, and what I think we're looking at is the figure of like the head of a serpent. That's actually an opening coming out of the mountain with his mouth open. So here's his head, here's his neck, here's his mouth. That looks like a little eye, but that I you know, well, take that for what it's worth. Okay. Go ahead and move this a little more. There's more over here. We see this entire side of the mountain is just totally a carving. But I believe there are openings for whomever is inside there to peek out. Like this guy here, I think he's really interesting. He's almost dressed in, like, I don't know, 16th, 17th century attire. It looks like he's even wearing a little ascot. He has male pattern balding, the whole thing going on. But I think this is a representation, not an actual being. Alright. Over here, I know you see a lot of things. Just one more thing to point out before we go to our next enhancement is that you can see the eye. I'm not even going to point at it because I know you can see it, but there are people around the eye, or they're representations of something. And I have a theory that they communicate, whoever they are, they communicate somehow with these carvings and pictures rather than writing. Or it's just the way they're trying to communicate with humans, because we don't know how to read their writing. Alright, so that's also extremely interesting. Let's go to a better enhancement of the outcrop. Here we are back at the monument. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the central figure is approximately 100 feet tall. And that's a 10-story building. We also see in pretty good detail a number of figures, carvings, shapes, these profile faces here. Some look human, some look non-human. Let's pull in some. Let's go down here. The next tallest figure is this figure wearing black. It's about 70 feet tall, and looks like he's wearing a hat. But there's also another face behind this one, and something that strikes me is I often see some of these figures have a very childlike look to them. So these could be child giants, just in the 70-foot range, or they're some sort of monumental carving. But the carvings were closed. I don't know. I have my opinions, but I just dragged the video down. Let's leave this open for your interpretation. Here we have this large figure here, another figure, almost non-human looking figure here. I will say this looks like a guy in a like a friar's robe, like a monk. And we usually run into a lot of religious symbolism in pictures like this. For instance, like this. This, I don't think it's even open to interpretation. This isn't a maybe. If I can find it here. Make it a little bit bigger. In the center, here we have what appears to be a bishop. He's wearing a robe. There's his head. There's his bishop's mitre. That's his hat. Another bishop looks to be off to his left here, and he's holding a gold cup, like he's giving communion. Possible cross right there. And I don't go looking for this. It's just in the picture. So, did the Pope send people down there at one time? Or did these guys start Catholicism? Okay. And I'm not making fun of Catholics at all. I'm not Catholic, but I have all the respect in the world for Catholics. I used to work for the Archdiocese of Kansas City a long time ago. And I knew a couple of archbishops. And yeah, that's what they are. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's go look at another enhancement of the lower part of this area, which I think you will be you'll find it very astounding. Here we are at the lower portion of the monument area. Off to our left here, we see some pretty big guys standing there. Let's set this up. Here and here for sure. It looks like he's holding a sign. I think what we're looking at are vehicles that fly in and out of here. they're either made by humans or non-humans, so that narrows it down. But these are not the indigenous people to this area, I don't think. They visit, or they have been visiting for a long time. They have something to do with the place, but they're not the original inhabitants. That's the big guys that live around here somewhere. Let's look at one more enhancement of this area. There's just a small color change on this enhancement, but it does bring out some detail that we didn't see in the first shot. I think it's safe to say that some type of society is here. So let's go ahead and look at the mountain wall next. And here we are back where we started. This is above the monument on the mountainside. We have this carving. If that's a carving, maybe it was built and put there. Let's zoom in. I've spent a lot of hours looking at this picture. And one idea that I have of what we're looking at is this character here is kneeling, and this taller character is putting a crown on him. It looks like a coronation scene, and these are the spectators. I'm not sure what to make of this, but I'm sure you can see quite a few humanoid shapes and characters as well. Let me adjust the screen here. Alright. Right here we have a queenly looking figure and quite a bit of activity. There's our guy in the black suit, and he would be over 100 feet tall. And we'll just go through here looking at things. There's another guy above the big guy. there's some people standing on a ledge. More figures. Let's go over to the eye. And on closer inspection, it's really not an eye, it's a composite picture. When I say a composite, it's more pictures together that create the illusion of an eye. But it actually looks like three faces. One's wearing a hat. Obviously has a lot of meaning to somebody. Let me adjust. There's our guy standing on the serpent head. There it is. You don't see that every day. Oh. That's all that. The next picture we'll look at is an actual photograph of the mountain from about 3 miles away. Wow. You know, working on these enhancements really does pay off. Let's take a look at the mountain from afar. This is a picture of the actual mountain taken from a ship in the Beagle Channel. And right there was the area we just looked at. It seems like there are other anomalies in here, but the distance just doesn't make it a good candidate for an enhancement. Let's go back to Google Earth for a second. All right, so there's our monument hiding out there in Patagonia. One last little bonus feature before we conclude the video is here's the entire mountainous area we're looking at. But let's just go back this way just a little bit. And we're going to go over here for just a moment. Right here. That's the back door. Or actually, that is an access. It looks like an arch going into a tunnel. That's for another video. It is roughly 80 feet high. So some of these guys would still have to duck going in and out. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. It's a very interesting area. I have an insurmountable amount of new material coming up. So, Happy New Year. This is Roger in Kansas City, and I will be talking to you soon. Unless the giants get me. Bye-bye!